Vidman brother files whistleblower complaint with Pentagon alleging relations. Washington states the Democratic leader of the White House committees are asking the Defense Department's acting inspector general to investigate whether the T-Man administration related against Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vidman, a key witness in President T-Man's impeachment proceedings, and his twin brother, Lieutenant Colonel Vidman. The requests from the leaders of the White House Oversight and Reform, Intelligence, and Armed Services Committees comes after Vidman filed a whistleblower complaint with the Pentagon last week, alleging he was punished after he raised concerns about Mr. T-Man's July 2019 phone call with the Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky, which was at the center of the White House's impeachment investigation. He also flagged possible legal and ethical violations by National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien and National Security Council (NSC) Chief of Staff Alex Gray. Mark Ziad, an attorney who handles whistleblower cases, confirmed his law firm is representing Vidman, and that he filed a whistleblower complaint stating senior White House officials, to include the president, retaliated against him for performing his duty as an attorney and a soldier. Actions were improperly taken against him in retaliation for his protecting disclosures involving matters that ultimately led to the president's impeachment, as well as disclosure of misconduct by other current senior members of the president's national security team. Vidman's legal team said in a statement, Zed also represents the anonymous whistleblower who filed a complaint with the intelligence community inspector general about Mr. T-Man's dealing with Ukraine, which prompted the impeachment probe. According to a Democratic lawmakers, Carolyn Maloney, Adam Smith, Adam Schiff, and Stephen Lynch, Vidman reported multiple allegations that O'Brien and Gray committed several ethics and legal compliance violations, misused government resources, excluded women from meetings, and made sexist and demeaning remarks to female NSC staffers, including inappropriate commenting on women's looks and talking down to women. Vidman worked as a NSC deputy legal advisor and senior ethics official on the NSC staff. White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah called the allegations ridiculous and false. Ambassador Robert O'Brien and these other senior staff are highly valued members of the president's national security team with impeccable reputations during their years in public service, she said in a statement. Under Ambassador O'Brien and his team, the National Security Council staff has the largest number of female senior leaders ever. These allegations are an example of precisely what's wrong with Washington. A junior-level disgruntled former detailee with whom Ambassador O'Brien had almost no interaction, can launch baseless attacks for partisan purposes. Ferris said White House Democrats and press outlets who reported on the allegations from Vidman harbored the ultimate goal of harming the president. Mr. Vidman is no longer at the NSC after his detail was ended following poor performance, as revealed in the House Democrats' letter. She said, he now attempts to retaliate against his former supervisors for providing an accurate assessment of his performance. And as the House Democrats admit, he didn't even contemporaneously memorialize his supported concerns. In their letter to Acting Inspector General Sean O'Donnell, the Democrats said Vidman wrote in his complaint that between July 25th and August 5th, 2019, he had at least 3 conversations with the White House lawyer John Essenberg, during which he raised concerns about the president's call with Zelensky. During the phone call, Mr. T-Man pressed Zelensky to investigate Joe and Hunter Biden. The Democrats also told O'Donnell that Vidman voiced concerns about O'Brien in the fall of 2019, including the National Security Advisor alleged use of official government resources for personal activities. They said Vidman told his superiors that O'Brien's taxpayer fund traveled to Utah and California with his wife would create an appearance of impropriety and personal conflict of interest. The trip included a speaking engagement for the Brigham Young University Air Force ROTC unit, where O'Brien's daughter was a member of the Corps of Cadets. The committee chairs said Vidman also recounted his complaint during that an ethics brief he provided to O'Brien in September of 2019. O'Brien became agitated and angry when Vidman and his colleagues informed a national security advisor about his conflicts of interest and gifts from private entities, including who could purchase his meals. Vidman met with Essenberg and another NCS lawyer, Michael Ellis, in January to discuss a series of potential legal and ethical violations involving O'Brien and Gray. The letter from the Democrats said he reportedly told the 2 lawyers that O'Brien and Gray were misusing NSC staff official time for personal errands, including scheduling haircut appointments, retrieving personal luggage, and to coordinate personal dinner arrangements. Additionally, Vidman told Essenberg and Ellis in January he believed O'Brien circumvented government ethics standards on at least 2 occasions. First, by offering during a December meeting to connect SpaceX chief executive office with the Pentagon, and then by accepting a meeting in January with a member of the U.S. Postal Service Board of Governors under the pretense of a social call. Even though it was described by the governor as a 5G and USPS autonomous vehicle /etc. Democrats wrote. The Democrats said that the T-Man administration appears to have taken a series of personal actions against Lieutenant Vidman in retaliation for joining his brother in raising concerns with his raiding chain about Mr. T-Man's call with Zelensky and potential misconduct by O'Brien Gray. These actions include reducing LTCY Vidman's portfolio of responsibilities, including excluding him from important NSC meetings with official events, removing him from his NSC position, and escorting him and his brother off the White House grounds, and filing a derogatory performance review, they wrote to O'Donnell. The Democratic leaders cite differences between a pair of office evaluation reports issued by Essenberg before and after the ensuing events. The first report dated July 1st, 2019, Vigny Vidman is described as a epitome of an Army officer and lawyer and a hardworking, disciplined, tough-minded team player who manifests the Army's value and is unremittingly honest in delivering legal advice without concern of repercussions. In July 2019 report, Essenberg said Vigny Vidman should be promoted immediately to full colonel. In a second report of Essenberg dated April 6th, he stated Vigny Vidman performed all his duties satisfactorily and over time displayed increasingly poor judgment and failed to learn from his mistakes on multiple occasions. His unprofessional demeanor made NSC staff feel uncomfortable. Vidman's substandard performance, his lack of judgment, failed to communicate with his superiors, and inability to differentiate between legal and policy decision caused him to lose the trust of the NSC senior leadership. The evaluation cited by the Democrats stated, with additional counseling and experience, LTCY Vidman's performance may improve. He would benefit from additional experience and a slower-paced work environment subject to less pressure and scrutiny in time. He may become a better attorney. The Democrats said the drastic change between these performance evaluations during the specific time frame in which LTCY Vidman raised ethics and legal compliance concerns with his raiding chain and with NSC leadership, coupled with the other personal actions taken against LTCY Vidman, provided evidence of a pattern of retaliation actions taken against him. The request to the Pentagon Inspector Generals is the second in the Democrats have made regarding the Vidman brothers. In July, Manoli, Scaife, and Lynch asked for the investigation into whether the T-Man administration sought to retaliate against Alexander Vidman and after his testimony before the House. Both Vigny Vidman and Alexander Vidman were escorted from the White House in February after the Senate acquitted Mr. T-Man on 2 charges of abuse of power and construction of Congress. The president was impeached by the House in December. Alexander Vidman retired from the U.S. Army earlier this month after what his lawyer called a campaign of bullying, intimidation, and retaliation by Mr. T-Man